For today's video, I thought I'd do some fan art of some very recent Pokemon. I begin with some fan art of some different Pokemon that are featured in the Hisui region of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Near the end of the video, I will include some fan art of the 3 new starter Pokemon for the upcoming Gen 9 Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I decided I wanted the style I made the art in to be very similar to the official style, but still have my own twist on it. I decided I didn't want it to look identical to Ken Sugimori's art, so I went with a thicker line art style, and I worked with a slightly more painterly version. I didn't want things to be hard to tell that they were that Pokemon, so I was trying to get the proportions and size accurate, but I wasn't working with an obsessive level to get everything absolutely perfect. Off screen, I was also looking at additional reference on my VizRep app of different animals. I used reference of cats running and wolves running as the primary working point for both Hisuian Growlithe, which I'm painting here, and the upcoming Hisuian Arcanine. I use the poses from the real animals, but I have to translate it to the way that these mythological creatures actually work. For Hisuian Arcanine here, I used reference of Hisuian Arcanine off screen, but also a wolf running directly towards. I worked in different layers and stages and used different levels of opacity. As you can see, I made some of the layers less opaque so they would be less distracting. I did the base for the body first, and on a separate layer in blue, I worked out some of the different fur and mane details because it's confusing to work those manes in without the underlying anatomy. As you can see, I had to adjust several proportions, and I also duplicated and flipped several features on the creature, such as working out segments of the mane and the ears in order to get them more perfectly exact, although I warped them into place. I used alpha lock, and I used layers on top that were clipping masked down in order to paint on specific things. I also duplicated to get that orange flame look on the mane, and I worked by merging layers down once I started getting too many, as there's a layer limit in Procreate, which is what I was working in for this. I like the style I ended up doing these in, so I kept working with a similar style. For all of these, I also import the official art, and I color pick to get the actual coloring. For the Hisuian Braviary here, I used a stellar seagull as reference, the actual bird it's based on, and I used an even more painterly style and a different method than the previous ones. I painted every stroke here, although I did do some selecting and filling on layers and merging down just to make sure there were no gaps, but I used a much more painterly style. The only brush I used for this entire painting was a soft round brush. I actually only really used a soft round brush for the previous paintings as well, although I did use more smudging tool in little areas here and there. I decided to do this one in a more painterly style simply because I was in the mood to, and something about the pose I was working from just called to a slightly more painterly style. In the end, I'm quite happy with it, although I was just doing a few basic paintings around here. I decided it was fun to do a totally different pose than any I'd actually seen. Now for Scarlet and Violet. As everyone else, I'm very excited about the beautiful and cute Sprigatito, which is the one I'm leaning towards for my starter. I'd been burned by final starter evolutions before, so I'm actually going to intentionally see what they evolve into before deciding which starter I'm actually picking, if it's at all possible. So if it's released or there are any leaks. Sprigatito I'm hoping will remain on all fours and become a saber-toothed cat, which I'm sure most people are hoping for. I love the animal, the Iberian lynx, so I hope some Iberian lynx inspiration will be included. I think they're already kind of going for Iberian lynx here with some fleur-de-lis designs in this grass cat. I'm a lover of anthros, but if they did it correctly, I'd still be happy if it was two-legged and anthropomorphic. Still, I'd vastly prefer for it to be on 4 legs and be a quadruped because we've seen less of that. I'd prefer the starter final evolutions to be more animal and less human-like, which is what most people would prefer. I haven't been as happy with the latest starter final evolutions that I was in the past. I keep fiddling with this leg here because I'm working from a pose of a kitten on its back with its legs up, but translating that to the simplified design of Sprigatito was proving problematic. In fact, Sprigatito here was one of the harder things to paint, possibly because I've seen it less, so I'm less aware of how it's supposed to look, and I've been looking at the Hisuian forms a lot more because I've been playing Legends Arceus. I actually found it easier to draw the far less normal or animal looking strange crocodile pepper here, For some reason, I was just finding it a little easier to draw, although I had to adjust that front leg to be in proper perspective and look like it's on the ground more, which was a bit of trouble. As I go along, I'm working on only a few layers, and I'm merging down as needed. I'm using a line art layer, selecting in the area, and then filling on a different layer in order to get some of the color bases. For Fuecoco, I'm hoping it will turn into a large, either 4 or 2-legged pepper crocodile and be a very interesting grass fire type. I'm hoping for fire grass, but it would be interesting no matter what, as long as the final evolution looks good. It's quite a creative design. Quaxley was a bit of trouble. I looked at a reference of an actual duckling to help. Here I'm seeing inspiration from storks, ducks, sailors, pirates, and the blue-footed booby bird, which you could say that wave on the hat might also be something else, and it does have the blue feet. I'm hoping that they make the final evolution be sort of swashbuckling or like a stork with a sword or something. I wouldn't mind if this one gets more humanoid, but I really want the cat to be more quadrupedal, which I think is what most people want because there's been too much of the humanoid look. I don't mind the humanoid look if it's pulled off correctly, however. So here's hoping things will work out for these starters. I'm also hoping for the quality of life improvements and for things to be included in the games that I really want to be included. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video and will see you with another one very soon.